Well, good afternoon on this Wednesday afternoon, September 28th, 2022. I'm continuing in my playing of the 1956 Major League Baseball season using three different sim engines, using the Action PC Baseball, PC Replay Baseball, and Digital Diamond Baseball. Today's game is going to be using Digital Diamond. And as you can see on the screen, we're in the 1956 season. Yes, we're just 4 games into the season, the week of the 22nd of April 1956. This is a doubleheader game. We're just going to be picking up the day game, and it's going to be a pitching matchup of Frank Lary and Bob Feller, one of the more recognized and famous Cleveland Indians pitcher. Going into this game, the 56 Tigers are 3-1, while the Indians are just the opposite. They're at 1-3, struggling a little bit in this early season. Like I said, this is game 1 of a doubleheader. For the 56 Tigers, you got Tuttle leading off in center field, Torgensen at first base. That's Earl Torgensen. Al Kaline batting in the third spot in right field. Harvey Kuhn at shortstop batting in the cleanup spot at fourth. You got Boone at third base, House in center field, Maxwell in left field, Bertoa playing at second base, and then your pitcher Lary. For the 56 Indians, you got Bobby Avila playing second base, leading off, Gene Woodling in left field. You have Smith in right field batting third, Vic Wertz batting in the fourth spot playing first base, Al Rosen batting in the fifth spot playing third base, Busby in center field, Chico Carrasqual playing short batting in the seventh spot, Averill, the catcher, batting in the eighth spot, and your pitcher Bob Feller, excuse me. I was almost saying Will Ferrell. Bob Feller in the ninth spot, pitching. A sip of coffee and away we'll go into this game. Leading off will be Bill Tuttle. Tuttle batting at a .253 average. As we go to start this game, Feller's getting his wind up, getting warmed up, and stepping to the plate is Tuttle. Nobody out here in the top of the first. Here is the pitch, rolling for the swing. And it's a one-hopper to Avila at second, over to first for the out number 1. To the plate, Earl Torgensen. He entered the game batting .444 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. Rolling for the swing. And it's going to be grounded hard to second. Again, Avila up with it. Lots of time, and he throws out Torgensen easily, gets him by about 3 steps for out number 2. And that'll bring up Al Kaline to the plate. Kaline. The 2 outs here in the top of the first. The dangerous Kaline steps to the plate, and here is the roll, and ball 4. He walks him. It's way upstairs, and that's ball 4 as he got through him the high heat and hit a little too high. A little bit of airmail as Harvey Kuhn comes to the plate. 2 down. Kaline leads off first. Rolling for the swing. And Feller leaves one up over the plate. And that's a line sharply towards left field, down the line and headed for the corner. Kuhn is off to the races and cruises towards second for a double. Kaline trying for extra bases, and he comes all the way in to score from first. So that's a RBI scoring double for Kuhn. And that's going to bring up Ray Boone, the third baseman. Boone batting .308 in the season. So a run across for the Tigers as Kuhn's on second. Boone steps up next. Feller in a bit of a jam. Kuhn at second. Rolling for the swing. Here comes the pitch. Feller looks in. Lets a little dribbler right back to the box. Feller snaps it over to first for out number 3, but we had 1 run, 1 hit, and a man left on. And after a half inning, we have Detroit 1, Cleveland nothing. And to the plate for Cleveland, Avila, Woodling, and Smith coming to the plate. Bobby Avila, he entered the game batting 200 at the Mendoza line. Let's see if he can do a little better as Lary, with a 3.15 ERA. In real life, he was a 21-game winner with 13 losses, striking out 165 with a 1.38 whip. So a pretty good season in 56 for Lary. So here comes the pitch. Avila digs in, rolling for the swing. Swung on, grounded hard to second. Up with it is Bertoa, and it throws it to Torgerson for the 4-3 put out, and out number 1. That brings Gene Woodling to the plate. Batted .262 in 1956. Woodling steps in, toes the rubber. Here's the pitch, and he beans him. He hits Woodling. Woodling grimacing as he strolls down to first base. That'll bring up Al Smith, the right fielder. Batted .274 in that 56 season. Lary gets the signal from House. Here is the pitch. Woodling takes his lead off first. It's a high drive to center field and deep. Tuttle going back, way back to the warning track, and he one-hands it just shy of the fence. What a play by Tuttle. So 2 outs on the circus catch by Tuttle. Woodling back on first, takes his lead as Vic Wirtz comes to the plate. Wirtz batting .264 in 1956. Let's take a look at the first baseman. Had 32 home runs, so he has a heavy stick with a .264 average. The OPS of .874. So here is the pitch as Woodling takes his lead into the windup and the pitch. Grounder hit towards second. Bertoa reels it in, sets, and fires a first for the out. So no runs, no hits, and a man left on base. And we go to the second with Detroit up 1-0. Due up for Detroit: House, Maxwell, and Bertoa. So coming to the plate, Frank House, as Bob Feller looks in, gets the signal from Averill, his catcher. House is chatting up Averill. Nobody out here in the top of the second. Rolling for the swing. Triple zeros. House waiting. Feller delivers. Strike 3 called. House will take a seat as he got him on the high fastball. That Parmesan pellet. As Maxwell comes to the plate. Let me see. That's Charlie Maxwell. Batted .326 in 1956. The left fielder swings a pretty hot bat as Feller gets the signal from Averill. Rolling for the swing. Here's the pitch. Wind up. 2-hopper to Cariswell at short. He backs him up, but now he flips it to first, and Maxwell is out of there. Gets him by 2 steps. 2 down as Bertoa steps to the plate. That is Reno Bertoa, batted 182 in the 56 season. And rolling for the swing. And Feller high again, ball 4, as he's pretty amped up, throwing high heat and a little too high. Bertoa gets the free pass, and that brings up the pitcher Lary, who batted 184. Feller looks at his counterpart, gets the signal, comes with the pitch. 2 down. Bertoa on first. Rolling for the swing. Big hopper hit right to Avila. Over to first, takes care of Lary. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left on. And after 1.5, going to the bottom of the second, Detroit 1, Cleveland nothing. That's going to bring up for Cleveland in the bottom of the second, Rosen, Busby, and Carrasqual. Rosen steps to the plate. Al Rosen batted 267 in 1956. So far in this replay, he's batting 353 with a home run and 4 RBIs. Lary gets a signal from House, goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. Line deep left field. Back goes Maxwell, but it's over his head. He plays the carom, and Rosen is headed towards second for a leadoff double for Al Rosen. So Cleveland's in business now as Busby comes to the plate. The center fielder, Jim Busby, batted 235, and a colder bat here in the replay at 176. And Busby is looking to lay down the bunt. And he will. It's a good bunt fielded by Lary. His only play is first, so it's a good sacrifice bunt by Busby. Moves Rosen over to third for Chico Carrasqual, who's coming to the plate. Carrasqual batted 243 in the 56 season. In this replay, dismal 067. Can he improve on that, as he's had a frigid bat so far in this season? Here comes the pitch to Carrasqual. And Carrasqual gets the pitch from Lary. Ground ball to Kuhn at short. He tosses it first on the mark, and Torgerson attempts to tag Carrasqual going by, but he misses, and he'll charge an error to Kuhn for a wild throw. Scoring from third is Rosen. So we've got an E6 throwing error that allows a run to come across for Cleveland. And so now we're knotted up 1-1. Carrasqual on first on the error, and coming to the plate is Averill, the catcher. That is Earl Averill, and he's hitless so far in this season, but he's been walked 5 times. So he's got a good eye. Can he get another walk from Lary? Here's the pitch to Averill. And he strikes him out. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Got him on the bender for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Bob Feller to the plate. Feller has got a bunch of goose eggs when it comes to hitting. So we're just going to let him swing away. With 2 outs, that's all we can do. And he struck him out. That's 0 to 318. Strikeouts are likely. Hit him with the high heat. Got him with the Rockford Rocket for out number 3. And we go to the third, knotted up 1-1. And both pitchers pitching well. As coming up here in the top of the third for the Tigers will be Tuttle, Torgerson, and Kaline. top of the lineup as Feller looks at his catcher Averill and gets the signal. And here's the roll. And Tuttle digs in, winds and fires. It's a bullet hit toward first base. It's too hot to handle for Vic Wertz. He gets into right field for a base hit. And Smith is on it quickly, fires it back in, and it's a single for Tuttle as Torgerson comes to the plate with Tuttle on first. And Feller gets this signal from his catcher. Tuttle edging off the bag at first. Here is the pitch. It's on its way. It's grounded to short, taken by Carrasco, and he goes to Averill for the force and down to first. Double play. So they turn the 6-4-3 double play. So 2 down now, no runners on, as Al Kaline comes to the plate. Kaline batted .314 in 56. In this replay, he's batting .368. Is yet to homer, but he did have 27 in the 56 season. Here's the pitch to Kaline. Temporary pause there as I spoke with the wife. Let me see what happened there. And he walked Kaline, so Kaline takes a stroll down to first base. 2 outs, runner on, and that'll bring up Kuhn. Who had a RBI scoring double his last time up. Feller wanting to be careful with the hot-hitting Kuhn. Kaline on first. And here is the pitch, rolling for the swing. And Kuhn does not strike out. He's got 0-11, but he does hit a hard ground pops it up in the infield. And you have the P4 put out for out number 3. So we go to the bottom of the third. Detroit 1, Cleveland 1, and due up for Cleveland, Avila, Woodling, and Smith. So we got the top of the lineup for Lary. Avila stands in. He entered the game batting .200. And he grounded out his first time up. Lary gets the signal from House, goes into his windup. Here's the pitch. He rears back and swing and a miss, and he wins the battle and gets another strikeout. Excuse me. That's strikeout number 3. He's faced 10 batters, struck out 3. As Woodling comes to the plate. Woodling was hit by the pitch his last time up. Stuck his shoulder in there and took one for the team. Lary goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. He leaves one out over the plate. Swung on in the air to right field. It could be trouble. Kaline was late picking it up off the bat, and it's going to get by him and go to the wall for a double. So that's a 1-out double by Gene Woodling, and that's going to bring up Al Smith. Smith, his first time up, flew out. So Smith steps in, Woodling on at second. As Lary goes into windup, here is the pitch. Lary sits, swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball, got him on the bender, got him on the curve ball, and corkscrewed him into the ground as he goes back to the dugout with his head hung low. That'll bring up Vic Wertz. 2 outs. Woodling on second for Vic Wertz. Wertz his first time up, grounded out. And here comes the pitch from Lary. And into the windup, the pitch. And low, ball 4, as he got him around the shoe tops. So we got runners now on first and second with 2 outs. And Al Rosen coming to the plate. He's entered the game batting .353 with a home run and 4 RBIs. 2 gone. Woodling takes his lead from second. Wirtz edging off the bag at first as the pitch comes from Lary. Toes the rubber, winds, delivers it, lifted to right field. K-Line calling for it, makes the catch. So no runs on 1 hit and 2 runners left on base. And we go to the top of the 4th, and we're still knotted up at 1 here in Cleveland and due up for Detroit. Boone, House, and Maxwell. Boone, his first time up, grounded out. Feller gets the signal from Averill. Here's the pitch. Boone entered the game batting .294 with 4 RBIs. Rolling for the swing. Feller deals. Hard hit grounder to Chico Carrasqual. The grounder's fielded easily by Chico, who fires it over to Wirtz for the out on the 6-3 putout. And out number 1. And that'll bring up Frank House. House struck out in the second. So here comes the pitch to House as Feller winds and deals. The umpire brushing off the plate. House gets set to hit. 1 out. And here is the pitch from Feller. Swung on, hit a hard ground ball that's going to get through to center field. Hits it right up the center. Busby cuts it off in a hurry. House is going to have to settle for a single as it's quickly tossed back into the infield. And that's going to bring up Maxwell with 1 out. Runner on first. Charlie Maxwell grounded out his last time up. Here's the pitch to Maxwell from Feller. House leads off first. Rolling for the swing. Feller glances over to first. Rocks back. Here it comes. And he hits another one high upstairs. Ball 4. House makes it. House moves up a base to second. Maxwell on first. 1 out. 2 on. Here in the top of the 4th. And that's going to bring Bertoa to the plate. Reno Bertoa reached on a walk in the 2nd inning. Here's the pitch from Feller. Bertoa steps in. House on second. Maxwell on first. And here comes the pitch from Feller. Swung on, hit on the buttons toward short. Carrasqual, who stays with it to retire Bertoa. So he gets the line drive out. Both runners, House and Maxwell, alert on the base pass, get back on the bag. So now we have 2 outs with 2 on, and the pitcher, Lary, coming to the plate. Here's the pitch from Feller. House on second, Maxwell on first, and rolling for the swing. Feller cranks, deals. It's a shot to left, but Woodling is waiting for it and pulls it in. So no runs on 1 hit and 2 runners left on base. And we go to the bottom of the 4th, still tied up at 1. Detroit 1, Cleveland 1, and due up for Cleveland, Busby, Carrasqual, and Averill. That will bring Busby up. Busby on his plate appearance. What's SH? Somebody will have to tell me what SH is. I'm not understanding that. Oh, sacrifice. Excuse me. He laid down that bunt. Sacrifice hit from Busby. That will bring up Busby, and here is the pitch from Lary. I was drawing a blank there for a second. And he walks him. He takes ball 4, and he'll trot down to first base. And that brings up Chico Carrasqual. He's 0 for 1 on the day. Nobody out. Busby takes a slight lead off of first. And here is the pitch from Lary. And Carrasqual digging in. Swung on, and that's going to be hit into center field for a base hit. Tuttle's over to pick it up. That'll be a single for Carrasqual. And only a 10% chance to get to third, to get to extra base. We will say no, that's not a good chance. So Busby will hold off at second. We got runners on first and second, no outs, as Cleveland is getting something going here against Lary here in the 4th. And that's going to bring up at Averill. Averill batted 237 in the season. So far hitless in this replay. Struck out his last time up. Lary looking to pitch himself out of this jam. Here is the pitch. And he strikes him out. Averill is a fan as he goes back to the dugout with his head hung low, his head wagging to and fro. As Feller comes up, and Feller will lay down the bunt. He's got to get a less than 650 for the bunt, and he does. Feller showing bunt. He gets it down. It's a beauty. It's rolling to a stop just fair inside the third baseline. Up with it is Boone, but he'll have to hurry. And he does get him, but that'll move the runners up to second and third with the leadoff hitter Pavilla coming to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day, grounded out and struck out. So can he come through in this position? Can they get runners across, or will they leave them stranded? Here is the pitch, and Lary fires and deals ball 4, and he loads the bases. He walked him as Avilla had a good eye, and now we have the bases juiced for Gene Woodling. Gene Woodling, 1 for 1 on the day. He doubled his last time up in the third and was hit by a pitch his first time up. So he's been on the bases both times today. Can he continue that with the bases loaded? Woodling digs in. Here's the pitch from Lary. And Lary having some trouble getting the ball over the plate. That one's downstairs, ball 4. Here comes Busby. Carrasqual stops at third. Avilla heads to second. And that'll break the tie as Detroit now trails 2-1. And that brings up Al Smith. He's so far 0 for 2 on the day. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Lary in a little bit of a jam here as Al Smith digs in. Here comes the pitch. We're rolling for the swing. And he toes the rubber. It's popped up to the right side. Torgerson is there, and he makes the catch. And Smith fails to deliver. But that'll do it for Cleveland in the bottom of the 4th. They get 1 run in the inning, and they've jumped to 2-1 lead. So we go to the top of the 5th with Cleveland up 2-1. And due up for Detroit is Tuttle, Torgerson, and Kaline back to the top of the lineup for Bob Feller. As Tuttle steps in, Feller gets the signal from Averill. He goes into his windup. Tuttle batting .300 coming into the game. Here in the top of the 5th, here is the pitch from Feller as he winds and cranks. It's a bouncing ball past Feller. Avilla has it under control and slings it over to Worst at first for the easy out on the 4-3 putout, and out number 1. And that'll bring up Earl Torgerson, 0 for 2 on the day, grounded into a double play his last time up. Here's the pitch to Torgerson. Feller goes into his windup. Here in the top of the 5th, 1 out. And here is the pitch. Hit to first. Wirtz will grab it up and step on the backs for the 3 unassisted for out number 2. And that'll bring up Al Kaline. Kaline, 2 out, top of the 5th. And here is the pitch coming from Feller. He goes into his windup. It's popped up in the infield over to third. Boone. It's an easy play. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Cleveland 2, Detroit 1. Due up for Cleveland, Wirtz, Rosen, and Busby. Wirtz 0 for 1 on the day. Nobody down here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's the pitch to Wirtz. Lary goes into his windup, delivers. Ground ball to short. Kuhn muffs it, recovers. Still has time to throw Wirtz out as he gets him on the 6-3 put out. Even if he did boot it a little, he still had time to get Wirtz. And that's going to bring up Rosen. Rosen is 1 for 2 on the day. 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th as we roll for the swing. Lary into his windup. It's grounder to the left side. Boone gloves it cleanly. Sends it to first for the 5-3 put out for out number 2. 2 up and 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th as Busby steps to the plate. He says it repositions his helmet. Now he's ready. And Lary gets the signal from House, goes into his windup. Here's the delivery. He rears back and fire. He hits it on the ground to third. Boone kicks it. That'll be an error. Booted by Boone. And Busby will reach on the E5. And that's the second error by the Detroit Tigers in this game. That'll bring up the righty Carasquale. So far, he's 1 for 2 on the day. So he's got a runner on first with 2 down. Busby takes his lead off first. Chico steps in. Here's the pitch to Carasquale. And Lary rears back and fires. Strike 3. Got him with the curveball, the bender. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. And after 5, it's Cleveland 2, Detroit 1. And we go to the top of the 6th. Due up for Detroit, Kuhn, Boone, and House. Kuhn steps in. Feller gets his signal, goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. Kuhn batting .500 entering the game. And here's the pitch. Top of the 6th. Feller winds and deals. It's a high chopper off the plate toward Avila. He snaps it and fires it to Wirtz for the out on the 4-3 put out. And out number 1. And that's going to bring up Boone, the third baseman. He's 0 for 2 on the day. 1 out. And we're rolling for the swing. Feller kicks and deals. Slow roller to second, fielded there by Avila. And he throws to Wirtz for another 4-3 put out. Easy play by Avila at second. 2 up and 2 down for Frank House. Now at the plate. He's 1 for 2 on the day. 2 outs. And we're rolling for the swing. Feller looks down, gets a sign. The pitch is looped to shallow center. Carasquale going out. But the play is made by Busby. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on base for Detroit. And after 5.5, we go to the bottom of the 6th. Cleveland 2, Detroit 1. And due up for Cleveland, Averill, Feller, and Avila. Averill 0 for 2 on the day. Lary beginning to tire. As Averill steps in, here is the pitch. 6-6-7. It's a tapper to Boone at third. He gloves it, throws it to Torgerson for the out on the 5-3 put out. And out number 1. And that brings Bob Feller to the plate. Feller has laid down 2 successful bunts in this game, but nobody on. He's going to be swinging away, and this should be an adventure Here is the pitch from Lary to Feller, and he struck him out. That 0-318 gets him again. Feller will take a seat. Strike 3. And that brings up Bobby Avila. He entered the game batting 200 at the Mendoza line. He's 0 for 2 on the day, but he has walked his last time up. So Avila steps in. Pitch from Lary. And he will walk him again as he steps and fires ball 4. Avila trots down to first. Another free pass for Avila as Gene Woodling comes to the plate. Woodling so far is 1 for 1 on the day with an RBI. 2 down. Avila leads off first. Lary gets his signal from House. He goes into the windup and the pitch. Big hole on the right side with Torgerson holding the runner. Wind up the pitch. Hit on the line to left. Maxwell there to snag it for the out. So no runs, no hits, and a man left on base for Cleveland. And after 6, it's Cleveland 2, Detroit 1 in this tightly contested ball game. Both pitchers are now beginning to tire as we're in the 7th. Feller pitching a 3-hitter as well as Lary. And it's a 2-1 ball game. Due up for Detroit is Maxwell, Bertoa, and Lary. This may be Lary's. I don't know if we'll see him hitting. We'll see what the computer will do as Maxwell steps in. He entered the game batting 286. Nobody out. Here comes the pitch from Feller. Pitch is on the way. It's swung on. It's hit on the button toward left field, but right at Woodling, who stays with it to retire Maxwell on the F7 put out for out number 1. And that'll bring up Reno Bertoa. Bertoa, 0 for 1 on the day. He lined out his last time up and walked his first time up. Here's the pitch to Bertoa. Feller gets the signal. Goes into his windup. Ball 4, patience paid off there for Bertoa, and he works his way aboard. So on the day, Feller's had a little bit of trouble with his control. He's walked 5 and only struck out 1. And that brings up the pitcher Lary. Ring the corners in. Casey bunts. Here's the pitch from Feller. Bertoa stretches the lead. He is rolling for the bunt. He gets it down. Feller off the mound in a hurry and is on it quickly, glances over and thinks about second. But he pegs it over to Wirtz at first for the sure out. And it's a good sacrifice bunt by Lary, who evidently is going to be coming out for the 8th. The bottom of the 7th, as Tuttle comes to the plate. Tuttle steps in. Entered the game batting 300. 2 away. Runner on second in Bertoa. And here is the pitch from Feller. Back. He wires back, and it's a liner to right, but right at Smith for the out. No runs, no hits, and a man left on base for Detroit. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. Cleveland 2 and Detroit 1. And due up for Cleveland, Smith, Wirtz, and Rosen. So stand up. It's time for the 7th inning stretch. And take me out to the ball game. So standing in to hit is Smith. He entered the game batting 267 with 4 RBIs. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, here's the pitch from Lary as Smith steps in. And he delivers, and Smith takes that one upstairs. Hit him high with the high heat, ball 4. So now Wirtz steps to the plate. He entered the game batting 250 with a home run. Smith edging off the bag at first. Nobody down, runner on. Here is the pitch. And it's a big number. The pitch is on its way, and there's a high fly ball to deep left field. Maxwell is there measuring the wall, but he runs out of room. Home run for Vic Wirtz. And Smith scores. 2-run shot by Wirtz, and it's now a 4-1 ball game. And that'll bring Al Rosen to the plate. He's 1 for 3 on the day as Lary just shakes his head as Vic Wirtz took him yard. And now Al Rosen steps in. Rosen high-fived Smith and Wirtz as they pass the plate. He steps in. Lary gets the signal. Here's the pitch. And he's a little shook up as he steps off the mound. Pitch is on the way, and Rosen looks at ball 4, so we got another runner on for Busby, the center fielder. Busby at the plate, batting 176 so far entering the game. Rosen takes a slight lead from first. Busby digs in. Lary gets his signal. Here is the pitch to Busby. Line drive to short, and it's snared by Kuhn to take a hit away from Busby as he hit it on the screws, but right at Kuhn. And Busby just shakes his head in disgust as he goes back to the dugout. That'll bring up Chico Carrasqual, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Bottom of the 7th, Rosen edging off the bag at first. And here's the pitch from Lary. Lary toes the rubber. Here comes the pitch. Hit on the buttons toward right field, but right at Al Kaline, who stays with it to retire Carrasqual. And the right-hand Averill adjusting his gloves for a moment. Now he's ready as Averill steps in. 2 outs now. And Rosen on first for the catcher Averill. Here is the pitch. Rosen going on contact. Ground ball into center field for a base hit. Cut off there by Tuttle, and that's going to be a single for Averill. And Rosen will stop at second with only a 10% chance to make it to third. We will hold right there. And Lary is now gassed, and they're going to bring in a new pitcher. That'll be Aber. Let's take a look at his numbers. That's Al Aber, the lefty. In real life, had an ERA, a 3.43 with a 1.43 WHIP and a 4-4 record in 42 games, and also 7 saves. So he comes in to try to get Detroit out of this little bit of heated spot as Bob Feller is at the plate with 2 outs. Do I hit for Feller or let him stay in with a 3-run lead? Let's let him stay in. So here's the pitch to Feller. And what does he do? Swing and a miss. He struck out. He has the sombrero. Probably should have pulled him because he is fatigued now. Oh, that was a mistake on my part. I should have yanked him. Oh, well. That's why I'm not the best manager. We're going to pull him. I should have pulled him before he hit. What do I know? So I'm facing a lefty in Torgerson and then a couple righties. Let's just bring in the best pitcher possible. We'll consult with the bench coach. All right. Let's go with Let's go with Garcia. No, I don't like that number. That's even worse. There we go. Let's bring in Lemon. No, I gotta find him. Do I not have closers? Yeah, I gotta. Let's bring in Marlowe. Well, this is for Detroit. What is this doing? No, I was going to the Detroit bench. Go to the pen. My apologies for those who are watching. My stupidity. I was wondering why I couldn't find who I wanted to find. We'll bring in McClish. So bring in a new pitcher here in the 8th in Cal McClish with a 4.96 ERA. Not too good in assimilation. This might not be the guy to have in. As Torgenson steps to the plate, McClish, he's warmed up now. Here is the pitch. Torgenson 0 for 3 on the day. McClish goes into his windup. And what does he do? He walks him. That's high, ball 4. And that'll bring the dangerous Al Kaline up as Torgenson on first. Kaline steps in. Torgenson edging off the bag. Nobody out. Runner on first. Here is the pitch from McClish. Fly ball to center field. Busby ambles under it and makes the catch. Out number 1. 1 down. Runner on first for Kewen. Defense digs in. Torgenson parked on first. 1 down. And here's the roll. McClish rears back, fires, swung on, ground ball to first, but Wirtz doesn't cover much ground out there, and that's going to get through as he misses on the range play, but they get it quickly back in. That's runners on first and second as he misses on the range play, and that's going to put runners on first and second. And Boone coming up to the plate. Now here's Boone, 0 for 3 on the day. Torgenson hanging out at second. Kewen stretching his lead at first. Here's the pitch. Grounded to second. Fielded by Villa. Over to Kalscrawl for the force and down to the first for the double play for the 4-6-3 double play to end the inning for the Detroit Tigers and McClish come in and got the job done. And so it's still 4-1 here in the bottom of the 8th as Aber is still in. Avila steps in. He's on the day 0 for 2, but he's walked twice in 3 plate appearances. In 4, excuse me. So here is the pitch from Aber. And what does Avila do? With that good eye, he takes the ball low for ball 4, and he's down to first. That brings up Gene Woodling. And that's going to be all for Aber, as they're going to bring in Paul Foytak from the bullpen. And he'll be coming in relief. He had a 3.59 ERA with a 15-13 record and a whip of 138 and 1 save. So Foytak looking to start sitting down Indians. Here is Woodling as he steps to the plate. Here is Foytak as he goes into his windup. And the pitch. Foytak, a long look at Avila. Swung on, line to second, right there to handle it is Bertoy on the L4 put out, and he makes that catch for the outs. So 1 down as Al Smith steps to the plate. He's 0 for 3 on the day. Avila parked on first. Smith steps in, hoping to get off the snide as he's 0 for on the day. And here is the pitch. And Foytak leaves one up over the plate. It's a line shot past the diving Kuhn and into center field. Tuttle coming over to cut it off. But that's going to go to the wall, and Smith is headed towards second for a double. And Avila is going to stay at third. He does not have a good chance to make it home. But with 1 out, that's going to leave runners on first and second for Vic Wertz. And what has Wertz done on the day? Simply his last time up, he homered. It's a 2-run shot back in the 7th to bring us to our 4-1 to lead. And Vic Wertz hoping to continue that hot hitting. Runners on second and third. Here's the pitch from Foytak as he gets his signal. Here's the pitch. It's on the ground towards first. Torgerson up with it and takes it to the bag himself for out number 2. That'll bring up Al Rosen, who's 1 for 3 on the day. Again, we got runners on second and third. Avila 90 feet from scoring another run as Foytak looks to pitch his way out of this jam. As he gets the signal from House, he goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. Swung on and is grounded sharply up the middle, past Bertoy and into center field. Tuttle comes in up with it quickly there, but Rosen is going to have himself a single. Avila is going to score, and they're waving Smith in from third as he rounds third as he comes from second, and he's going to clear the bases, so 2 more runs come across. And Cleveland is up now 6-1 here in the bottom of the 8th. Batting next for Cleveland is Busby with Rosen on first as Foytak kicks the rubber, toes it now to begin his pitch. And here is the pitch as he's amped up now. Brings the heat, swung on and missed. He blows it by him with the heat. That's 2 runs now on 2 hits and a man left on base. But after 8, it's Cleveland 6 and Detroit 1. And we go to the top of the 9th. And I'm going to bring in a new pitcher. I don't like McClish in this spot. And who would be my best bet in this spot? Who's got... Let's see. Let's bring in Ray. Let's bring in Narleski to close this thing out. I don't really see anybody I would call a closer. So Narleski in to close this game out. Narleski has an ERA in real life of 1.52. He won 3 and lost 2. So far in the simulation, he's at 2.70. So let's see if he can get this done. As Frank House comes to the plate. Here we are, top of the ninth. 6-1 Cleveland. Narleski coming in from the bullpen in relief. House checks in. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Top of the ninth. Here is the pitch from Narleski. It's hard hit right at Carrasqual. He plays it on a hop and throws it to Wirtz for the 6-3 putout. And out number 1. 2 more outs. And Cleveland can get theirself at 2-3 as Maxwell comes to the plate. He's 0 for 2 on the day. 1 out. Narleski goes into his windup. Here is the pitch. Winds and fires. Maxwell hits it slowly on the ground to the left side. Up with it is Rosen. He'll have to hurry. And he gets Maxwell just by a step for out number 2. So 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the ninth. And we're 1 out away from a Cleveland Indian victory. And that's going to bring Marino Bertoa to the plate. Bertoa steps in. Narleski gets the signal from Averill, his catcher. Bertoa 0 for 1 on the day, 2 away. He's going to be called back, and that's going to bring Wilson to the plate to pinch hit. That is Red Wilson, who batted .289 in real life. So far in the simulation, he's batting 1,000. So will he continue that as Narleski looks at Wilson, gets the signal from Averill, and here is the pitch. Can Wilson extend this game? 2 outs, top of the ninth, and here is the pitch. And Narleski on the way. It's a hard line drive, snared by Wirtz, and Wilson kicks the dirt in frustration. Put it on the screws, but come up empty. And that will end our game as Cleveland takes this one with a final score of 6-1. And that will conclude our game here in Cleveland, Ohio. And that will close out our game. As let's take a look at the box score. Bob Feller and Al Rosen key in Cleveland's victory. A big win for Cleveland as they benefited from Al Rosen's timely hitting. Al Rosen led the offense for Cleveland, going 2 for 4 with a walk, a double, and 2 RBIs. With the victory, Cleveland is now 2-3 on the season, and Detroit falls to 3-2. Look at the extended box score. For Detroit, you had Kuhn with a double and an RBI. Lary with a sacrifice bunt. Errors by Kuhn and Boone, and Torgensen and Boone both grounded into double plays. 7 batters left on base for the Tigers, for the Cleveland Indians. Doubles by Woodling, Smith, and Rosen. Home run by Wirtz. Gene Woodling with an RBI, Wirtz with 2, and Rosen with 2. Sacrifice hits by Busby and Feller, and Woodling took one on the shoulder, and they turned 2 double plays. But they did leave 12 batters on base, left on base. Pitching for the Tigers, Lary took the loss, He pitched 6 2/3 with 4 runs, all of them earned, giving up 5 hits, a double, a home run, and he walked 7 and struck out 7, and he hit a batter with 136 pitches thrown. Aber come in, pitched a third of an inning, allowed a run. It was earned, and he walked and struck out 1. And then Foytak, he came in. He allowed 1 run as well, earned on 2 hits, a double, and he did strike out 1. For the Indians, Bob Feller pitched 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. He did allow a double, walked 5, and struck out 1 for a 1.29 ERA. McClish came in, or that's where he's at on his ear. He pitched, he allowed no runs. He did allow a hit, and he did walk 1. And then Narlesi come in and just shut down the side in that inning he pitched. And that's going to be our game. I'm now going to go ahead and fast play the rest of the day, and actually going to fast play the rest of the month, because we're in the 22nd. And it'll get me caught up with the other sims as we will be starting in to the next month. And we'll take a look at how that's going to play out. So this is taking a few minutes. All right, there we go. Let's go to the month view. I'm going to go ahead and play out the rest of this month. As I played out basically the last week. This takes a few minutes, and then we'll take a look at our standings. And I apologize for the delay, but it's taken a few minutes to calculate all these. Might have to just do this by the day. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording here and just play those games offline, and that way you don't have to be around as we wait for that. Hope you enjoyed the game. Great game by the Cleveland Indians as they win 6-1 to move to 2-3 on the season. Hope you have a great day. Soli Deo Glory.